Hello, today I'm going to discuss the lexical stress in English. But before we go further into our discussion, let me first define some key terms that we are going to encounter along the way. First is X-tire or timing tire. The timing tire contains timing units that define the lengths of segments in the phonological representation. Syllable. A syllable is a unit of organization for a sequence of speech sounds typically made up of a syllable nucleus, most often a vowel, with optional initial or onset and final margins or coda. Ultimate, penultimate, and antepenultimate syllable. In linguistics, the ultimate is the last syllable of a word, the penultimate is the next to the last syllable, and the antepenultimate is the third from the last syllable. Let us consider the following example. So this is the structure of a syllable. As I have mentioned a while ago, a syllable consists of a nucleus, which is typically a vowel. It can also contain or consist of an optional onset, and under the rhyme we have the nucleus and the coda. This is the symbol for a syllable. What is lexical stress? In phonetics, all stressed syllables in words have one characteristic in common, and that is prominence. Prominence is produced by four main factors. First is loudness or intensity, second is the length, third is pitch, which is measured in fundamental frequency or F0, and fourth is quality, that's according to Roach in 2009. In phonology, the quality and quantity of a sound segment is expressed in binary. For instance, the quality of a sound segment is determined by the features under the root node. The root node is divided into two branches, the laryngeal and the supralaryngeal. The laryngeal includes voicing and glottal features, which can be constricted or spread glotis. Supralaryngeal, on the other hand, includes the manner of articulation and the place of articulation. The quantity of a sound segment is expressed by measuring the timing in the timing tire or the X tire. In these examples, it can be seen that the lax E and the tense E differ in terms of X quantity. Meanwhile, the tensed E and the diphthong U are very close in terms of tenseness since both have two X values or two X quantity. Lax E is considered as a light vowel because it only has one X value, while tense E and diphthong U are considered heavy vowels because there are two X values under the nucleus. According to the stress placement algorithm, the stress lies on the heavy syllable. In English, the lexical stress can be predicted by certain phonological rules. One thing that we have to remember in predicting lexical stress is that we look at the rhyme, which consists of a nucleus and an optional coda. For verbs, the lexical stress is placed on the heavy syllable in the ultimate position. In this word, agree, the syllable in the ultimate position, this one, has the monophthong E, which is a heavy vowel. As explained in the stress placement algorithm, the lexical stress is placed on the heavy syllable, so the lexical stress is assigned in the ultimate position. In the word invite, the rhyme contains three X values. You can see here, the last sound segment in the coda position is called an extraprosodic or extrametrical consonant. When we say extraprosodic or extrametrical consonant, it is the final consonant sound that falls outside the domain of syllabification. In the stress placement algorithm, this extra prosodic consonant becomes invisible. Even so, the syllable in the ultimate position still carries a heavy vowel, the diphthong I, therefore it still contains or carries the lexical stress. In the word adapt, the rhyme also contains three X values. Again, the extra prosodic consonant T becomes invisible. But even with the absence of the extra prosodic consonant, the rhyme still carries two X values, which makes it a heavy syllable. Therefore, the stress is assigned on the ultimate position. Now, if the syllable in the ultimate position becomes a light syllable, for instance, if there's only one X value on the rhyme, then the stress will move from the ultimate position to the penultimate position. Let us consider the words develop and solicit. Now, in the case where the syllable in the ultimate position becomes a light syllable because of the disappearance of the extra prosodic consonant, this one, the metrical foot determines the lexical stress. To assign the lexical stress, we bind the two syllables from the left and the stress is placed on the trochaic foot. The trochee is a metrical foot composed of two syllables, the stressed followed by an unstressed syllable. Therefore, in these two examples, we put or we assign the stress on the penultimate position. Lastly, there are also some verbs where the lexical stress falls on the antepenultimate position. This case happens when there is a primary stress and a secondary stress determined by the heavy vowel and the trochaic foot. Let us consider the words diagnose and manifest. In these words, there are two things to consider in determining the lexical stress. Firstly, the syllable in the ultimate position, this one, is a heavy syllable because the rhyme still has two X values in the word diagnose because the nucleus is a diphthong, so there are still two X values even with the disappearance of the extra prosodic consonant. And in the word manifest, we have one X value under the nucleus and one X value under the coda. Therefore, it is given the stress marking. Secondly, if we combine the syllable in the penultimate and the antepenultimate position, the antepenultimate syllable becomes stressed according to the trochaic foot. Lastly, if we combine the two stressed syllables, these two rather, we can determine that the antepenultimate syllable carries the primary stress while the ultimate syllable gets the secondary stress. We can also predict the lexical stress in nouns. Contrary to verbs where only an extra prosodic consonant becomes invisible, for nouns, the syllable in the ultimate position becomes invisible. In phonology, this is referred to as extra prosodic syllable. Let us consider the words ticket and membrane. In these words, the extra prosodic syllable becomes invisible, so the lexical stress is placed on the penultimate syllable. In addition, in a three-word syllable, where the syllable in the penultimate position contains a heavy vowel, the heavy syllable also carries the lexical stress. In these words below, the lexical stress was placed on the penultimate position after the disappearance of the extra prosodic syllable because it is still a heavy syllable. In the word corona, the rhyme, as you can see here, the rhyme contains a heavy vowel because it has the diphthong O, while in agenda, the rhyme still contains two X values, one vowel and one coda. In nouns which do not contain a heavy syllable, just like in verbs, the trochaic foot is taken into consideration. Let us take a look at these two words, America and cinema. Here we can see that the syllables in the antepenultimate and the penultimate position are both light syllables. Therefore, we assign the lexical stress by considering the trochaic foot. Lastly, there are also nouns with primary and secondary stress. However, the assignment of primary and secondary stress for nouns is the contrary of the rule in verbs. For nouns, the heavy syllable receives the primary stress while the trochaic meter carries the secondary stress. Let's consider the word memorandum. So after the disappearance of the extra prosodic syllable, we give a lexical stress to the penultimate syllable because it is a heavy syllable. At the same time, if we combine these two syllables, we also assign a lexical stress to the first syllable because according to the trochaic meter, this is a stressed syllable. However, unlike in verbs, we assign the primary stress to the heavy syllable and the secondary stress to the trochaic foot. Lastly, we can also predict the lexical stress in adjectives. Basically, adjectives follow the stress pattern or rule of verbs. For instance, words such as common and handsome carry the stress on the penultimate position because the syllable in the ultimate position becomes light syllable after the disappearance of the extra prosodic consonant. On the other hand, adjectives such as discrete and complete carries the stress on the ultimate position because the syllable in the ultimate position has a heavy vowel E. Therefore, even if the extra prosodic consonant becomes invisible, the rhyme still has two X values, making it a heavy syllable. Finally, adjectives with derivational suffix such as municipal, complacent, and tremendous follow the stress pattern or rule for nouns. In the word municipal, both the syllables in the penultimate and antepenultimate position are light syllables, so we assign the lexical stress by the trochaic foot. In the word tremendous, the syllable in the penultimate position, this one, is a heavy syllable, therefore the stress is assigned in the penultimate position. That is the end of my discussion. Thank you very much for listening.